Hi, this is Alan from Sherpa, and I thought in this very brief video that I would share with you two foundations that will improve your team, and it's based on some really solid neuroscience. So, when are we at our best collectively? And the answer is when oxytocin is flowing. So what is it? It's a hormone and neurotransmitter associated with empathy, trust, and relationship building. So it's kind of the neurochemical foundation and to cooperation and teams working really well together. Now, when are we at our worst collectively? The answer is when cortisol is flowing. So what does cortisol do? Well, it can be thought of as nature's built-in alarm system. So it's our body's main stress hormone, and it works with specific parts of the brain to control mood, motivation, and fear. Now, here's the thing. When cortisol is flowing, it's nearly impossible for oxytocin to be produced. So in effect, we're on alert, we're in survival mode, and we can only think of ourselves. So it kills cooperation. And symptoms of a sort of cortisol environment are things like silo mentalities, lack of cooperation between teams, infighting over resources, office politics. These may sound very familiar. So what are the two foundations that will improve your team? Well, the first one is your team need a clear sense of purpose. And what we mean by that is that the team and the individuals in their team need to feel that their work really matters. And one of the benefits of working in an agile way is that people can physically and tangibly see incremental improvements or steps forward in their work, that their work has impact, that their work actually is meaningful. Now, the second one is trust. Trust is incredibly important for high performance in teams. It is part of psychological safety, and trust is something I'm going to talk a little bit more about. Now, why are these two foundations important? Well, quite simply because they are both oxytocin promoting activities. That's why. They generate oxytocin in amongst the team, and as we said before, that is key to empathy, relationship building, and a high level of cooperation. Now, who said this? Well, actually, this is based on the work of a guy called Professor Paul Zak that many people may not have heard of, but Paul is probably one of the leading researchers in the impacts of oxytocin and has actually been researching oxytocin for over 18 years. And this is just a tiny snippet of some of the work that he's done. So compared with people at low trust companies, people at high trust companies report 74% less stress, 106% more energy at work, 50% higher productivity, 13% fewer sick days, 76% more engagement, 29% more satisfaction with their lives, and 40% less burnout. Now, it'd be easy to say, well, that's just one professor. So if you want to know more about the power and the impact of trust in a team, I'd highly recommend you read Simon Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last, where he devotes a whole segment of the book on the impact of psychological safety on high performance. And if you really still need a bit of convincing, then you can look at Google's research in Project Aristotle, where they were trying to work out, what makes a really high-performing team, and what came out number one was psychological safety. Team members feel safe, right? That's trust again, to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. So trust is incredibly important. It's incredibly important for high performance, and it's incredibly important because it is one of the two drivers that produce oxytocin in your team. Now, the last thing I wanted to leave you with is the obvious question. Well, how do I improve trust in my team? So here's one quick way to do that. And it's drawn directly from Paul Zak's Harvard Business Review article on the impacts of oxytocin on high performance. And the simplest and quickest way to do that is intentionally build relationships. So what Paul says is that the network that oxytocin activates is evolutionarily old. So this means that trust and sociality that oxytocin enables are deeply embedded in our nature. Yet at work, we often get the message that we should focus on completing tasks, not on making friends. Now, his neuroscience experiments show that when people intentionally build social ties at work, their performance improves. And a Google study similarly found that managers who express interest in and concern for team members' success and personal well-being outperform others in the quality and quantity of their work. So there you go. 2 simple foundations that will improve your team because they are oxytocin creating activities. So try and build a little bit of trust with your team. And remember, it's not employees that walk in the door every day, it's human beings. So have fun. Let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you soon.